Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I'm Laura Blackwell, tonight's host. My co-host, Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour to help people remain connected to one another when we can't physically be in the same place. And it's so great I come back to the same place every Wednesday, which is not something I can say about many places. We've also been lucky enough to have the fabulous Cliff Winning step up to help us out. He is in the background today, sneaky like. But we're very grateful for his help as well. And welcome back to our regulars returning. It's great to see so many familiar faces. And welcome also to those of you joining us for the first time. As always, we have two wonderful writers reading for their favorite wonderful nonprofits. Tonight's readers are Marie Brennan and Valerie Valdes. If you are fortunate enough to help others during this time, please consider a donation to tonight's featured nonprofits, Trees for the Future and the Bale Project. Marie Brennan is reading for Trees for the Future. Trees for the Future seeks to end hunger and poverty by training farmers to regenerate their land with the Forest Garden Program, a simple, replicable, and scalable approach with proven success. Through a 4-year training program called the Forest Garden Approach, farmers plant thousands of trees that protect and bring nutrients back to the soil. This helps farmers grow a variety of fruits and vegetables. Forest garden farmers gain increases in income and access to food even in the first year, all while improving the environment. You can learn more at trees.org. Valerie Valdes is reading for the Bale Project. The Bale Project combats mass incarceration by disrupting the money bail system, one person at a time. It's on a mission to end cash bail and create a more just, equitable, and humane pretrial system. Because bail is returned at the end of a case, the Bale Project is able to build a sustainable revolving fund where philanthropic dollars can be used several times per year, maximizing the impact of every contribution. The Bale Project restores the presumption of innocence, reunites families, and challenges a system that criminalizes race and poverty. You can learn more at baleproject.org. These are both such interesting and fantastic sounding organizations. I really recommend that you check them out. And if you're here on Zoom, feel free to leave your camera on. You're probably already muted. And it's just really nice for our readers to see human beings through the internet. And here on Zoom, we have a text chat off on the right. Feel free to chime in if you like. If you're joining us on Facebook, there's also chat there, but it's not monitored quite so closely. So just don't get offended if we don't get right back to you there, okay? And our first reader tonight is Marie Brennan. Marie Brennan is a former anthropologist and folklorist who shamelessly pillages her academic fields for inspiration. Kind of want a little Viking hat for that. She recently misapplied her professor's hard work to The Night Parade of 100 Demons and the short novel Driftwood. And I think there's a new book over there right behind her that she's going to tell us about. She is the author of the Hugo Award-nominated Victorian adventure series, The Memoirs of Lady Trent, along with several other series, over 60 short stories, and the New World series of world-building guides. As half of M.A. Carrick, she is writing the epic Rook and Rose trilogy, beginning with Mask of Mirrors. For more information, and she's going to show you the next one. Show them when the camera's on you, because we may be in speaker mode. We want the people on Facebook to see it too.
Fair enough.
Yeah, justice for all social media use. For more information, visit swantower.com, Twitter at @swan_tower, or her Patreon at patreon.com/swan_tower. Marie, you and your books are welcome, and you have the floor.
All right. So yes, The Liar's Knot, which I was showing off a second ago, just came out literally yesterday. That is the second of the Rook and Rose books. However, because Story Hour prefers complete stories rather than excerpts of things, I'm not reading from either of these. You can tell they're not exactly going to go by in 20 minutes or so, that they don't fit. So instead, I'm going to read two stories that are both on the shorter side. They're both about 10 minutes each. The first one that I'm going to read does come with a warning that it contains some very substantial harm to children. So if that's something that you're not really willing to deal with today, totally understood. The worst parts of it are in kind of like the first half of the story. And since it's like 10 minutes, if you want to just mute me for like 7 to 10 minutes or so and then check back in, I promise the second story is less dark. So this first one is a piece that I published in Strange Horizons. After 17 years of sending them stories without success, they finally bought one from me. I'm persistent. And so this is called This Is How. This is how a Valrobin is made. A child dies. Lost in the woods, he curls up at the base of an ancient oak and never rises again. Or she falters in the snow, lying down for a moment by the side of the road, just a moment to rest her eyes. Or, starving and alone, he weeps for someone to help him, but no one does. A raven comes, pecking, tearing, red blood on a black beak. Not eyes as some tales would have it, but the cold red blood of the child's heart, chilled and stopped by death. A child falls, a raven feeds, a Valrobin flies away. This is how a Valrobin dies. A noble warrior faces the ravenous foe. Bright steel against dark, bright armor against dark, and if he is quick enough and strong enough, he cuts the creature down. Where once a malevolent raven knight stood, there lies now the body of a bird, wings spread wide and still. Or a woman catches a black-winged bird and pierces its breast with a pin of purest gold. The beak that once feasted on a child's corpse opens in a silent cry. The heart that beat with a child's blood stutters once and stops. Or, in a frozen wood, a man kneels before the raven knight. He neither pleads for his life nor fights to end the one that threatens his. A flash of shadow, a spatter of blood across the snow, and the man falls. It will be a long time before the Valrobin realizes that he too died that day. This is how a Valrobin weakens. In small ways at first. Blood tastes less sweet. Pleas for mercy ring slightly out of tune. When he takes human form, his skin itches as if something is crawling beneath it. When he takes raven form, it feels wrong. A Valrobin does not sleep. But when he sits alone, as human knight or scavenger bird, watching the stars and the moon and the blood-stained sunset, his mind is disturbed. The silence within is filled with murmurs he cannot quite make out. A Valrobin is not a person, to be troubled by hopes or fears or memories of the past. Yet he remembers, first in flashes, then in long, uneasy reveries, from which he wakes with the sense that someone was speaking to him. But he cannot remember what the voice said. In place of silence, there is noise. In place of purity, there is doubt. In place of the Valrobin, there is a creature that has begun to feel. This is how a Valrobin falters. He lets someone go. A child, a girl running along a path between two fields, hurrying home before night falls. The raven knight lands before her, a winged black shape plummeting into a tall figure of black steel, and she drops the bundle of firewood she is carrying. She doesn't shriek, this one, though her moon-wide eyes say she recognizes what he is. If she runs, he will chase her, cut her down where she flees, and drink her heart's blood on the banks of the nearby stream. If she does not run, he will cut her down where she stands, and drink her heart's blood here between two fields. Except he doesn't. She stands there shivering, and he raises his blade and he does not strike. They stand there until the sun sets and the stars come out, until the waning sickle of the moon rises as if to reap what the Valrobin will not. By the end of the night, she is swaying and exhausted, and when she closes her eyes for a too long blink, he is gone, black feathers vanishing into the darkness before dawn. She picks up her bundle with shaking hands and staggers the rest of the way home. This is how a Valrobin fights, with claws and beak, with a sword of dark steel, and with all the malice of his corrupted heart. Claws and beak and sword are no use against the voice inside his head, the voice of the man he killed. Not the first, nor the last, but this one was different. It was and is. They all live on within the Valravn, the spirits of those he's slain. Like a fox with her tails, they mark him as old and worthy of fear. No tail, though, has ever given a fox such trouble. This one, he thinks, was a mistake. I am sorry. The man's final words on his knees in the snow. Odd words for someone about to die, but he said them with such sincerity. That sincerity rings through the Valravn's hollow bones, an echo that will not let him rest. Sorrow has leached the savor from the blood of his prey. Compassion has formed an uncomfortable harmony with their pleas. 3 words froze him on the path between the fields. I am sorry. As if he would apologize to the girl before he killed her. Not his words, the words of the man he slew. A good man filled with charity and mercy, temperance and kindness, who even in death refuses to be silent. The solution is easy. Release that soul and the Valravn will be at peace once more. But there is cruelty in the cold heart's blood of a child who died lost and alone. It is the cruelty of nature twisted to her harshest face, and it is what transforms an ordinary raven to a raven of the slain. A cat may let her prey run for a time before she catches it again, but not a Valravn. He keeps what he kills and will not let the man's soul go. The next time he finds a child, he leaves the body in pieces, scattered across the daisies of the meadow. This is how a Valravn breaks. In horror, in anguish, in grief. He gathers up the scattered pieces from the stained carpet of daisies, as if he can stitch them back together again. But the force that transformed him gave him armor and a sword, not a needle and thread. He can kill, but he cannot heal. He remembers healing. He remembers gentle hands, cool water, and a soft cloth to wipe the blood away. He remembers tearing a loaf of bread in 2 and pressing one half into shaking, weakened hands. He remembers giving the other half away later to a mother with an infant, and sleeping that night with his belly cold but his heart warm. He remembers life instead of death, soft voices instead of screams, eyes wide with gratitude instead of fear. But he also remembers killing, again and again without mercy. Many, many deaths, but not too many to count, because their souls live on within him. He relives those moments in pitiless detail, the good man's soul grieving for each and every one. What breaks him is the kindness, the compassion, the boundless heart that has room within it even for him. A creature born of death and abandonment, nature's heartless acts, should be beyond mercy. That is not what a Valravn is for. I am sorry. The man knew what a Valravn was long before the black-armored knight stood before him. And when he met one, that man grieved for the child who had died, for the raven who had unwittingly drunk the cold heart's blood, for what they had become. That soul is there, too, buried beneath the rest. The weight is too great for the Valravn to bear. He curls up in his human form and screams. He cannot endure this shape, so much like the people he has killed. In raven form, he huddles into himself, head beneath one wing, pecking desperately at his own breast as if his beak were a pin of gold. If there were a brave knight present, he would spread his arms and welcome the shining blade. There is no knight. There is only himself and the soul of the good man, and all those the Valravn has killed. This is how a Valravn changes. One by one, he lets them go. The souls drift upward like motes of light, but before that they tear free of him like his own bones coming out. Young and old, male and female, brave and angry and screaming in terror. They do not forgive him, even when he lets them go. They curse him as they depart. And the pain goes on and on, always more bones to rip out, more sins to remember. The snow around him turns red with blood, a stain becoming a carpet, becoming a great frozen pool stretching outward through the wood. Soul after soul after soul, until only 2 remain. Then he stops. This is how Valravn fears. Never once in all his existence. From the moment he lifts his beak, gleaming with a child's heart's blood, fear never touches him. He sees it, feeds on it, relishes its delicate taste, but never lets it strike him. Until now, when he hovers on the brink. Two paths lie before him, and both he fears lead to damnation. Release the child and die at last, completing the death that began when he slew the good man, but that man's soul will die with him. Or release the man and return to what he was when he began, a dead child's soul in the body of a raven, but the warmth within him will be gone. And without that warmth, what is he but a Valravn? A killer without mercy, a creature that knows no kindness. He may remember what he has done, but the spark that began it will have flickered out, and the ashes it leaves behind cannot burn. He will begin again, repeating all his sins of before, and the thought of that terrifies him. Or a third path, stay as he is. But the fire burns too hot for that. He wants to release the two souls that remain. He knows now what goodness is and cannot reach that star while he holds two innocents trapped. Without them, though, without one or the other, the good man is silent. He has wisdom, but no answers. There are no tales of a choice like this. The child, the man, neither. Death, damnation, suffering. A choice. This is how a Valravn chooses. He lets the good man go. This is how a Valravn is remade. In mercy, in justice, in repentance. The soul of the good man flies free, and there is no pain as it goes. The raven is left alone with the soul of the child who died alone, but not like it was before. Where there used to be a raven, where there used to be a dark-armored knight, a child stands in the snow. He looks at his hands in wonder, then touches one to his breast where a beak once pierced and tore. The skin there is soft and unmarked, and it is warm. Take fire from fire, and fire remains behind. It will continue to burn as long as it has fuel, the desire to do good instead of ill, to make amends for the sins of the past. He has freed the souls he wronged, and the one that remains is no victim of his. What killed that child, what kills all such children, is something else. Perhaps, he thinks, he can help change that. The air rustles and black wings spread, but this time their feathers are tipped with gold. A child rises, a raven repents, a Valravn flies away. So yes, that is a story that I wrote like on my way to bed one night. I was like brushing my teeth, and the idea kind of, I sort of had a nascent idea, and then my brain went, how about we do it this way? And then I sat down and wrote the whole thing and got to the end and went, I don't even know if that functions as a story. I'm not sure what I just produced. I'll worry about it when I wake up. Like I said, that came out in Strange Horizons, so if you want to read the text of it, that is available online. The second one I'm going to read, which I promise is a little less heavy, is also available online. This was published in Mythic Delirium some years ago, and this is called The Wives of Paris. They offered him a beautiful woman, power over men, victory in war. So, of course, he chose the beautiful woman. He was a young man, after all. Power would come. Don't forget, he was the son of a king, and victory was guaranteed because all young men are invincible. But a woman's soft thighs are another matter. To a teenager, that is the fruit of Tantalus. Only divine intervention can bring it within reach. Aphrodite cleared up his acne, taught him how to flirt, and sent him off to Sparta. And the rest is well-known myth. Never mind Oenone. No one ever does. Menelaus, sure, people remember him. How many guys start a war over a simple case of adultery? Nobody remembers the nymph Paris abandoned, even though she did the Morgan Le Fay thing and sent her son, Paris' son, to try and betray Troy to the Greeks, even though she did the Hallgather thing and refused Paris the assistance that might have saved his life, even though she did the thing done by women in tales the world over and committed suicide after he was dead. Oenone, nymph of wine. Maybe she was drunk when she met Paris. She wouldn't be the first woman to make that mistake. seeing a young man knowing he's going to break her heart and giving it to him anyway. Sure, she had more than just instinct to warn her. She had prophecy. But whoever pays attention to that? Say Paris was different. Still 17 years old, still exiled from Troy to herd sheep on Mount Ida, but with more on his mind than just sex. After all, he's married to a nymph, and we all know what they're like, the little tarts. He's already getting enough action. A beautiful woman, power over men, victory in war. He's never seen war, but power sounds nice. More interesting than his hillside, anyway. Especially when Hera dangles the extra incentive of gold, jewels, riches beyond his rather limited imagination. Inone never seems to care that she's married beneath herself, that he's a sheep herder and she's an immortal nymph, but it bugs him. So he tells Aphrodite her ass is too fat for his taste and hands the golden apple to Hera. Hey presto, power. It takes a little longer than that, of course. She isn't a genie to conjure up a kingdom for Paris out of thin air, and bumping off his dad, not to mention his 49 brothers, to make him king of Troy seems rather in poor taste. But marriage, that's a respectable road to both power and riches. Enter Lamia. Hera can see the future too. Leave any woman unattended for long enough, and Zeus will try to sleep with her. It seems kinder to make sure Lamia is attended than to get vengeance later by making her eat her own children. She's a queen of Libya, and since she hasn't ripped her own eyes out yet over the kids for dinner thing, she's passably pretty. No Helen, but then again, who is? And since Paris has never laid eyes on Helen, it doesn't much matter. This is a political match anyway, made for the purpose of world domination. She's always wanted to take over Egypt. Not with an army. Armies are unsubtle things, and Lamia has a serpent subtlety. Instead, she and her new husband offer a trade pact here, a treaty there, a marriage of some Egyptian daughter to a Libyan son. Paris acknowledges the boy as his own, and that's enough for political purposes, even though the kid's skin is as black as coal. Pretty soon, various Greek cities are client states to the North African Empire. Their caravans of ships venture from the Pillars of Hercules to the far reaches of the east, bringing back spices and emeralds and letters of friendship from foreign potentates. Nobody besieges the gates of Troy. Why should they? It's a backwater, a forgotten little city, neglected by the great power that now rules half the known world and has alliances with the other half. Paris hasn't forgotten that his father dumped him on Mount Ida to herd sheep. Old Priam lives long enough to see his kingdom wither, starved for trade, its young people migrating to greener pastures. 23 of Paris's brothers end up working for the Libyan court in one minor clerical position or another. Not Hector, of course. It's beneath the crown prince's dignity. He puts together a force of warriors instead, intending to attack whatever target presents itself. They never make it out the door. Priam keels over of a very convenient heart attack, so everything stops for the funeral games. And while that's going on, Hector discovers Troy is in debt up to its eyeballs. Faced with a choice between selling himself in marriage to some foreign princess and watching what remains of his kingdom be carved up among its neighbors, he falls on his sword. Paris never hears about any of this. Lamia sees to it that his flunkies don't trouble him with such insignificant trifles. Inone's heart is broken, of course. Paris didn't abandon her on Mount Ida. He and Lamia agreed from the start that there's no reason to expect marital fidelity, so long as there are enough acknowledged children to marry off for alliances. But Inone pines for their days of bucolic peace. At this remove, it's easy to forget the annoyance and toil that caring for sheep actually requires. She preferred the sheep herder to the king anyway. She feels like she doesn't know Paris anymore. She goes to tell him this, and he stares blankly at her like she's speaking, well, not Greek, Russian maybe. Weeping, Inone asks if he knows her anymore. A flunky, ushering the devastated nymph out the door, explains that they don't trouble the king with such insignificant trifles as her name. So, power corrupts, but we knew that already. And thinking with the downstairs brain never ends well. What's behind door number 3? Up the aggression a bit, and you've got a Paris who dreams of glory on the battlefield. The daughter of Zeus is more cunning than her sisters, or whatever you call the wife of the guy whose head you sprang out of, and the chick born from the sea foam created by the genitals of a dead ergod. No doubt the Germans can build nouns for these things. She doesn't dangle breasts or gold. She merely looks at him, and looks at him, until he squirms and reddens and decides he's got to prove something to the gray-eyed bitch. Victory in war, please, and the other two can shut off. Athena makes him earn it, which means he has to learn something other than sheep, which means he needs a teacher. All the fashionable heroes go to Chiron, but she's bored with the centaur style and decides to try something new. She sends him to Penthesilea. The queen of the Amazons give Paris plenty of reason to regret his choice. Her followers are less than pleased with having to train a man. They threaten to cut his balls off several times a week. The threats are that often, not the cutting. Unlike Prometheus's liver, his balls would not grow back. And the training itself is boot camp from hell for a fellow whose most vigorous exercise until now has been sporting with a nymph. But Penthesilea is nothing if not determined, and after a while they both start to enjoy it. The discipline and the shouting matches, and eventually the sex, which is nothing like it was with gentle Oenone. Hercules, Theseus, Achilles, and Paris? Menelaus wouldn't be able to kick this kid's ass, not once Penthesilea is done with him. The Amazons abandon her, muttering in disgust about that prick corrupting their queen. But the two of them hardly care. Together, Paris and his warrior wife rampage around the Mediterranean, collecting an army of rabid followers and laying waste every kingdom and city-state you care to name, before returning to Troy in triumph. There, Paris suggests to his aged father and 49 brothers that maybe it's time for a fresh rump on the throne. They're smart enough not to argue. And when the debts of his rampage come due, nobody breaks a sweat. So what if every kingdom and city-state in the Mediterranean wants a piece of Troy's hide? Their thick king's got Athena on his side. She won't let him lose. Not in war, anyway. But she promised him victory, not wisdom, and nobody planned for Oenone. Nor for the Amazons, who haven't forgotten that their queen waltzed off with some dick-swinging jerk. Jilted nymph plus psychotic warriors equals a plan that, while not as iconic as a giant wooden horse with Greeks inside, gets the job done. 100 harlots enter the city of Troy. 99 disperse through the soldiers' quarters, gritting their teeth into something like a smile. The 100th makes her way up to the palace, where she pours poisoned wine down the throats of her erstwhile husband and the bitch she ran off with. It doesn't take 10 years. It doesn't even take 10 hours. Half the soldiery is dead by morning, and the gates are jammed open. Every Trojan with common sense grabs their portable wealth and flees. What's left descends into chaos and looting, and when the armies finally show up, they burn what little remains. Stop me if you've heard this one before. There's a kid, and you just know he's going to be trouble, so you decide to prevent it by offing him. Only you're too squeamish to actually do the deed, so instead you handle it in a roundabout way, abandoning him on a mountainside, for example, where you can be deceived about the attempt's success. It didn't work for the parents of Oedipus. It didn't work for the uncle of Romulus and Remus. Hell, it didn't work for Snow White's stepmother. But why mess with tradition? Off to the mountainside with little baby Paris. As proof of his death, the herdsman presents a dog's tongue. And Priam and Hecuba sleep soundly, knowing they sent their son off to be murdered, but at least he won't be the ruin of his homeland, as the prophets had foretold. Except he will, of course, because fate's a bitch, 3 of them, and mountainsides never work like they're supposed to. You can't blame Helen. Her face may have launched 1,000 ships, but Paris is the one who brought them to Troy. He was always going to bring destruction. No woman, mortal or divine, could change that. Not even poor, forgotten Oenone, Paris's first wife, who knew he was going to break her heart and gave it to him anyway. Get rid of the golden discord-causing apple. Get rid of the 3 goddesses who have nothing better to do with their time than squabble about who's the prettiest. Leave him there on Mount Ida, a simple shepherd with his nymphly wife. He'll still find a way to bring it down. But maybe there's happiness in that simplicity before it falls apart. No politics, no bloodshed, no marriage is broken by an adulterous spouse. And no epic poetry spanning the gulf of ages, singing of glorious tragedy. Oenone would not complain. That's the end of that one. And I'm still not used to the fact that on Zoom, you don't actually get to hear applause. You just sort of see some hands moving, and that's it. So yes, both of those are available free to read for free online. If you look at my website, there's a tab for free fiction. Actually, quite a lot of my stories are available online, thanks to online publishing these days. And with that, I will hand it over to, well, I guess, Laura to do the introductions for Valerie.
Well, thank you, Marie. That was really a journey. That was great.
I chose a bit of a tonal range there.
I like that. I like that. So So yes, thank you very much. That was wonderful. We do tend to need a moment in between the stories to just take a breath, let the first story sink in, and get ready for the next one. So I'm ready. Valerie Valdes is our next reader. Valerie Valdes's short fiction and poetry have been featured in Uncanny Magazine, Time Travel Short Stories, and Nightmare Magazine, among others. Her debut novel, Chilling Effect, was shortlisted for the 2021 Arthur C. Clarke Award and named one of Library Journal's best science fiction fantasy novels of 2019. The sequel, Prime Deceptions, was published in 2020, and the third book in the trilogy, Fault Tolerance, is forthcoming in May 2022. Come back and show us the cover when you have that. Valerie lives in Georgia with her husband, children, and cats. Valerie, welcome.
Thank you. I will pay the cat tax and then I will yeet her sideways. Oh no, she's eating her. She's a self-eating cat, so she's gone now. Sorry, no cat tax to be paid at the moment. My apologies.
You'll just have to pay us in stories.
I will have to do that. So the first story I'm going to read, possibly the only story, depending on how fast or slow this goes, is my nightmare story. Actually, it is called A Diet of Worms. Content warning. Gross movie theater stuff. I guess that's probably about it. Yeah, it is a cat tax, I think anyway. But here we go. Content warning, second person POV for those who are deeply offended by it. Ooh. You're not the kind of person who shows up late to work, but today was a piece of shit. So it's 7:30 and your mom is finally dropping you off at the movie theater. It's a weeknight, only one person in the box office selling tickets. So you shame walk past a line of your fellow high school grads enjoying their last summer break before college. You hope you can sneak in without anyone noticing and grab some popcorn because you missed dinner and you're starving. Nope. The floor manager is Yamile, and she stares you down from concession while you creep into the break room to clock in. You turn to go, and there she is, smiling with her big shark teeth like you're a little fish. Your shift started at 6. Yeah, you mumble, my mom's car wouldn't start, and I already wrote you up, she says. You can sign it later. Go clean 1 and 16. It wasn't my, did I stutter? Go, now. You go. She doesn't need to be such a bitch, you tell yourself. You can't wait to get the hell out of there and see your girlfriend. You can't wait to quit and get a real job. Maybe tonight. You'll finish your shift and tell Yamile to eat shit and die. The more you think about it, the better you like the idea. You'll get through this one last night, and that's it. Now you're the one smiling. Old man Lemuel is at the doorman stand tearing tickets. You grab a walkie-talkie and your copy of the schedule, folding it so you only see the start and end times and the theater numbers. Who's in projection? You ask Lemuel. It's Peter, you know, he says. Mr. Leon is in the office. Worst threesome of managers ever. Yamile the hard ass, Peter the come mierda, and Mr. Leon, general manager, king of rules. If he's here, it also means you'll have to play his stupid theater checking game all night. Who's closing, you ask, your stomach suddenly tight with horror. Is Yamile and you? Lemuel says. Yeah, that's what you thought. You flip to the end of the schedule and see the last movie starts at 12:45 and ends at 3:25. The Queen in Red, one of those history movies schools come to see on field trips, but no school means no one watching, so it's in the smallest theater, 12. You want to kill whoever made the schedule this week, probably Mr. Leon. First, you have to clean theaters 1 and 16, and they are absolute clusterfucks, both of them playing big, dumb summer fun movies. Time Riders versus the Nitro Bears for kids, and Capital Vices for kids whose parents didn't give a shit if they watched rated R movies. Yamile takes over at the door and sends Lemuel in to help, but he's so slow you might as well be alone. It's like someone set off a popcorn and soda bomb with candy shrapnel. You use your broom to scrape a million crushed pieces of chocolate off the sticky floor, sometimes smearing them into a shit brown mess you have to clean on your hands and knees with paper towels. 4 soda spills means a trip to the supply closet for the mop and bucket, bleach burning your nose until everything smells like a swimming pool. Yamile radios you once a minute to ask if you're finished yet, which of course makes it take twice as long. On the plus side, you find an unopened box of sour gummy worms and slip it into your pocket for later. It's like winning a sweet $3 lottery. Finally, you're finished, so it's time to start checking theaters. People used to lie about having done it, so Mr. Leon goes into every house and hides a keychain by the emergency exit, way on the opposite side of the room. You have to collect all the keychains like some kind of shitty video game and bring them to the office so he can hide them again for the next rush. You will never, ever level up. You fall into a rhythm, wandering up and down the dark halls with their cosmic carpets, blue and purple and abstract yellow stars. Cardboard standees lurk in corners, and posters for the movies line the walls, backlit and begging for attention. Customers pass you on the way to the bathroom or concession, but they don't see you because they don't have any problems to bitch about. You go in and out of theaters like an annoying ghost, shining your flashlight around the exit until you find the stupid keychain, glancing up to see if anything is on fire, then leaving. You walk into the last theater on the schedule, number 12, The Queen in Red. It's hot as balls, like the inside of your mom's car after you and your girlfriend make out. AC must be busted again. You grab your walkie-talkie. Projection, you say. No answer. Who knows what Peter is doing? Smoking on the fire escape, probably. You watch the picture on the screen, a lady's face in profile, zoomed in so close you can only see the bottom of her nose, her mouth, her chin. Perfect red lips, drink from a wine glass, drink and drink, like the wine is never going to run out. And you stand there staring until a burst of static from your walkie-talkie wakes you up. You see Lemuel sitting front row center, shadows hanging on his face like in an old vampire movie. Did you go on break already? You ask. He doesn't answer, just stares at the screen. Probably can't hear you, he's so old. Great, now you won't get to eat anything until after 11, except maybe that candy you found. You bet Yamile did this to spite you for being late, and you still have to sign that stupid write-up. You are so going to enjoy quitting later. As soon as you leave the theater, something feels off, but you can't figure it out. You drag your dustpan along the carpet so it scoops up stray popcorn while you walk. The standee in one corner catches your eye and you stop. Capital Vices 2, Escape from Hell. That can't be right. The first movie just came out. It was in theater 16. You unfold your schedule and stare at the movie titles, and sure enough, there it is, CV2, Escape Hell. So what's in theater 1? Time Rider's Ghost? You stagger over and see the poster outside, now playing, and sure enough, it's Time Riders versus the Ghost Ninjas. The world seems to tilt 10 degrees left, like you took a shot of aguardiente and it just hit. Your mind races through 3 years of memories, like a reel of film unraveling onto a dark floor. Shut your mouth, flies will get in. Yamile is at the doorman stand with her cartoon shark smile. She takes your wad of keychains and waves you away. Go check the bathrooms, and you better sign that write-up before we close or you'll get another. The write-up, you almost forgot. You were late because your daughter was sick, and you didn't want to leave your girlfriend alone at the urgent care, and no one would trade shifts with you, and you were closing so they wouldn't let you call out. Stupid shitty job. You can't wait to quit at the end of the night. Yamile can shove the write-up directly in her stinky asshole. I tried, you say, but your throat is so dry you start to cough. Spit it out, Yamile says. I tried to tell projection that the AC in 12 isn't working, but he didn't answer. She whips her walkie-talkie out. Projection, she says, can you check the AC in 12? Yeah, sure, is the immediate reply. Yamile looks at your walkie-talkie. Let me see that, she says, yanking it off your belt before you can respond. She fiddles with it and humps. Battery's dead. Go get a new radio from Box. You cross the lobby wishing you could take a break to play one of the fighting games, blasting its music at no one, and knock on the back door to the box office. Whoever's inside doesn't answer, so you head for the exit to bug them from the front. Except the front door is locked for some reason, so you can't get out. You rattle the bar, but nothing happens. Outside, a line of teenagers stares at you like you've gone crazy. Your cheeks get hot. What? Now the girl in Box is opened up, and for a moment you have no idea who she is. Your stomach twists. It's Claudia. She started a few weeks ago, grabbed your ass once until you told her you had a kid. Then she tried to grab your crotch. I need a new radio, you say. She points at 2 of them sitting on their chargers and goes back to selling tickets. You take one and hurry out. Her last body spray bath wasn't enough to cover up the vinegar of her sweat. You probably smell like bleach, so who are you to judge? The bathrooms are the usual gross mess of toilet paper on the floor and piss on the seats, but the men's bathroom near the front does one better. The toilet in the handicap stall is clogged by shit and something else you can't identify, and plunging it doesn't help. Usher, where are you? Says Yamile through the radio. Men's bathroom, you answer. Hurry up and go clean the theater's letting out. One of the toilets isn't working. Just send them well and I'll catch up. But as soon as you say it, your mouth sours. Old man Lemuel died a year ago, heart attack. He lived alone in inefficiency and they didn't find him until he missed work and someone called the cops. Tonight, the other usher was Jeff, who's underage, so he already went home. Are you high? Yamile asks. You don't answer. Out of frustration, you stab the wood end of the plunger into the toilet and poke around, touching something sort of soft, squishy. Carefully, nose wrinkling from the smell, you fish out a pair of disgusting underwear. Not even dude ones. These are lady panties, kind of like shorts, but lacy and possibly silk. You toss them in the garbage and try not to barf. Not that you have anything in your stomach since you haven't eaten in forever. You wipe up the drips as best you can with paper towels and wash your hands, avoiding your reflection so you don't have to see what a fucking shit cleaning loser looks like. Yamile gives you the stink eye when you pass her at door. What was up with the toilet? Somebody tried to flush underwear, you say. It was covered in crap. No cursing. That's automatic dismissal. You'll save it for the end of the night when you quit. She laughs in your face. Oh, poor little baby playing with caca. Her scowl returns in a flash. Don't worry about 5, 9, and 12. We didn't sell any tickets for those. Once you finish, you think maybe Yamile will let you go on break, but she laughs again and tells you to check the theaters first. You don't even remember seeing Mr. Leon hide the stupid keychains again. He must have been right behind you while you worked. Probably checking up on you too, making sure you did a good job cleaning. What a dick. So you take your trusty flashlight and check theaters. You wonder if they're ever going to change the peeling purple wallpaper in the hallways or scrape up the old gum crusting the space carpets like tiny black holes. Your sneakers make soft snick sounds on the tile floors in the dark, even though you try to move quietly. As you grab another keychain, you think maybe you could duck out for a minute, run next door to order food, and be back before anyone noticed. Instead, you pull the sour worms out of your pocket. You can eat them while you walk. Your memory lurches again, but it can't seem to right itself this time, and you're left with a feeling like mental vertigo. The box you hold is still wrapped in plastic, but the color is a bit off, not as bright and shiny as you expected. The expiration date is a year ago. Why would you be carrying around expired candy? You remember finding it while cleaning and then, what? It doesn't make any sense. You feel a strong urge to throw it away, but instead you put it back in your pocket. One more theater before you can go on break. 12, The Queen in Red. Some kind of art film, blah, blah, teenager hooking up with an old guy, totally not your thing. Or anyone else's apparently, since it isn't selling any tickets. But the rules say check every theater, so Mr. Leon puts keychains in all of them, even the empty ones. It's still hot as balls, like when you steamed up the bathroom at your apartment earlier to help your kid breathe. You go straight for the keychain so you can get the hell out already, but there's this sucking noise everywhere, like surround sound, only it's inside your head, and you feel like you're gonna barf if it doesn't stop soon. You look up at the screen and it's a close-up of a face from the nose down, bright red lips pursed around a straw, drinking soda from a glass bottle, the never-ending soda. It's probably supposed to be sexy. Your urge to barf rises. There's a different sound, a counter suck that pulls you out of your thoughts. Claudia from Box sits in the middle of the theater, drinking a soda of her own out of a plastic cup she probably brought from home. She's not so bad looking, you think. You could sit with her for a minute, share her drink, see what happens. She looks down at you and winks before going back to watching the movie. What the hell are you doing, idiot? You tell yourself. Get the keychains and go on break already. You've still got like 5 hours left on this stupid shift and you need to eat. The door sticks as you try to exit, but you get it open after a few shoves. You head straight for door, not even bothering to sweep up the few stray kernels of popcorn on the worn-out carpet. Not like it makes a difference. Fewer people coming here since the new theater opened a few miles away. You're amazed this place is still around. I've been calling you, Yamile says when you pass her. She's wearing enough makeup to scare little kids, but it doesn't make her look any younger. You check your radio. Dead again. With a sigh, she hands you a spare. I'm going on break, you say. You can't, she says. You have to do the closing chores while I cover Box. But what about... You swallow the name Claudia like a mouthful of vomit as your head spins. Funny you'd remember her all of a sudden. She died, what, 20 years ago? Car accident, freak thing where a stray piece of rebar went right through her eye. Game over. Did I stutter? Yamile asks. You shake your head. You can't wait to tell her off at the end of the night when you quit. Start with bathrooms, she says. You can do walls last. Walls! What the shit? You gripe about it under your breath while you sweep up the bathrooms one last time. You gripe while you clean the 30 glass doors and windows in the lobby. You gripe while you grab the big rolling dumpster and start collecting all the trash in the building. Such a stupid waste of time cleaning all the walls in the lobby and paper. It's going to completely screw up your knees and back, which already hurt all the time, even when you take enough ibuprofen to aggravate your ulcer. Being old is hot garbage, but what are you going to do? It is what it is. That's the kind of thing your mom says. Drives you crazy. And look at you now, sounding more like her every day. Since she retired, she won't stop complaining about how she thinks she has Alzheimer's. Not since your grandmother died of it last year. You're the one starting to worry about your memory, though. You keep having these moments where it's like you forget what year it is, like your life passed in a blink, but your brain is still processing what happened, even though it's long over. And yet, nothing changes, not really. You're still at the same stupid job, cleaning the same shitty theaters, listening to the same ads on loop in the lobby every 20 minutes. Even the movies are repeating, remakes of the stuff that came out when you were just out of high school. You eyeball the standee for capital vices. Sin is always in. And wonder why you never quit and got a real job. And you still have to clean all the damn walls. You grab a roll of paper towels and some degreaser and get started. Up and down, back and forth, from the concession stand all around the lobby. Your shoulders ache before you've even finished that single room. Your legs shake from squatting over and over. There is no end to the number of walls, and you still have to go through all the hallways. You could leave early, you think. You haven't torn a single ticket anyway. The movies run on timers since they switched to digital projectors, so if they don't sell, they won't play. You can tell Yamile to suck it, and maybe you can catch the last bus home so your daughter doesn't have to put more miles on her car picking you up. And eat something. You feel like you've never been so hungry in your life. You remember you have some sour worms in your pocket and you pull them out. You're not sure whether it's the exhaustion or the degreaser fumes, but you feel incredibly dizzy all of a sudden. The candy in your hand fades like an old Polaroid until the color is washed out and wrong. The logo seems to warp as you stare at it, stretching and rippling as if it's trying to become something else. Yamile pokes her head out of box. Go turn on the house lights in all the theaters. I'm locking the doors. And don't forget to come back and sign that write-up. She can eat that write-up for all you care. This is it. You are almost free. You put the candy back in your pocket. You'll figure that out later. You grab your walkie-talkie and start back at Theater 18, flipping the overhead lights on for the cleaning people and to make sure no one is hiding inside. The switch from dark to light makes you wince as your eyes adjust, but it also feels good, like your soul is getting brighter. You go from theater to theater, bringing that light with you, like a god using your power to drive out the shadows lurking in dingy old corners. You come to the last theater. Good old number 12, The Queen in Red. It's a horror movie that takes place in a spaceship, with the crew either being hunted by aliens or going crazy thinking there are aliens when it's just one of them killing the others. You kind of wanted to see it, actually, but you haven't had the time. And the last thing you want to do when you're not working is come back to the theater. As soon as you walk in, a wave of heat hits you, like when your mom tries to save money by turning off the AC. You realize the movie is running, which is weird because you don't think any tickets were sold. Must have happened while you were checking the other theaters and Yamile forgot to radio you. Now you'll have to stay until the end of the night. Damn it. Your shoulders sag and you feel so tired. Might as well see if that stupid keychain is in here, though. You didn't notice Mr. Leon pass you at any point to hide it. Didn't he retire? You're not sure anymore. You don't have your flashlight because you didn't think you'd need it, so you follow the dim floor lights into the house. Hell, maybe you'll even stay and watch the movie. The picture is so black that even with the light from the projector, you can barely see where you're going. The emergency exit light is out too. Sweat starts to drip down your forehead, wetting your armpits and back as the air fills with the sound of heavy breathing. Yours? No, this is a horror movie. A good one because you're certainly scared. You look up at the seats and you could swear they're full, every seat in the house. Dark figures sitting up straight as statues. Ridiculous. One of them flashes the barest glint of white teeth, like a shark smelling blood, like Yamile. You turn to face forward and there's nothing. It almost looks like a hole, a doorway. The blackness in the center is somehow thicker than in the theater where you stand. You take a step toward where you think the exit is. Then the sucking sound starts. You freeze, panic squeezing your chest. You start to back away, back toward the floor lights and the ramp that takes you out of number 12. You want to run, but your legs are tired, your joints popping and throbbing, your heart banging like your landlord's fist on your apartment door. You finally make it to the exit, and for the longest moment of your life, it doesn't open. Then you're out into the hallway where the old cosmic carpets have been ripped up, leaving only bare concrete until the new floors are installed. Your breath comes in gasps, and you almost lean against a wall for support until you remember they're covered in a wallpaper stripping chemical for the renovations now that the theater is under new ownership. Hey, you okay? Someone asks, grabbing your arm. You nod. You feel cold, so cold, but you're still covered in sweat. Your vision blurs. In moments, someone's brought you a chair and a glass of water, and someone else barks orders into a walkie-talkie. Young people you don't recognize until you do, but you still can't remember their names on the tip of your tongue. I'll be fine, you insist. I just need to call my daughter to pick me up. She can't, though, because she doesn't live here anymore. She and her wife moved years ago with your sweet little grandson that you only get to see when they visit. Little? No, he's a teenager now, isn't he? And you live a few blocks away so you can walk to work. Why is it so hard to remember anything? I'll drive you, says a nice-looking girl who could be about your daughter's age. You think she might be a manager? Come on, let's go. You shake your head. There's something you have to do first. I have to sign my write-up, you say. Yamile wrote me up, and I can't leave until I sign it. Your three saviors share a look. Who? The manager asks. I think she used to work here, another person says. Are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? The third person asks. No, you say, I just want to go home. I'm so hungry. Then you remember you have a box of sour gummy worms. You're not supposed to eat candy, bad teeth, but you're old and who gives a shit? You wriggle the box out of your pocket and stare at it. They don't even make this candy anymore. Where did you get this? It expired ages ago. You start to laugh and it turns into a cough, and you keep laughing anyway until your lungs feel like wet paper bags. With trembling fingers, you claw open the plastic wrap. The smell of decay fills your nose, sweet and vile like overripe fruit, and you open the box you've carried your whole miserable, brief life. The worms inside writhe like living things, but they're not really. You slide one out and take a bite, and to your delight, it shrieks as it dies in your mouth. It feels like a kind of victory, though you're not sure why. Despite the horrified protests of the people around you, you eat every single one, smiling like a shark. Thank you, thank you. I think we don't have time for the second one, so sorry, we're gonna have to end it on that note.
Well, you'll just have to come back then.
I can attest to the fact that they let you come back.
Oh my gosh.
Based on personal experiences.
I'm so glad that I can't go to movies right now.
I'm sitting here going, time for dinner.
Yummy. I have some gummy worms, actually. Maybe I'll hit that up in a minute.
Did you work in a movie theater?
Oh, yeah. For years.
Yeah, that had the ring of personal experience behind it.
Oh yeah, I actually the underwear thing literally happened, and it was boxers, and I said I would quit rather than take it out, so they made somebody else do it. Sorry, Austin. He's not watching, but
You still owe him an apology for that.
Somebody always has to do it, though. That's the terrible thing.
Didn't stay
Somebody
there.
always has to when
Yeah.
someone does something like that. Somebody
that's
has
true.
to fix it. What an evening of stories, though. We've been through so many human and godly and other experiences tonight, and they've all been so immersive. Thank you both so much.
Well, thank you guys for running this.
Ah, you are
Thank
welcome
you so
back.
much for
Amy.
having us.
So, would you believe we do this every week? Next week, we have another great lineup. We have Sonia Falk and Joe Miles. And I recommend checking storyhour2020.com on the day of the reading for any announcements or changes. Hardly ever happens, but be prepared. You can also keep up to date about upcoming authors at storyhour2020.com. And you can see programs you might have missed, watch this one without hiding your face, Story Hour page on Facebook. So thank you very much, Valerie and Marie. This has been a really fantastic evening. And thank you to the absent, but Daniel Marcus, who will be back soon, more educated. And thank you to Cliff Winnig, helping out in the shadows. And thanks to all of you who joined us tonight, all of you who are joining us at some point in the future in the recording, for helping us in spinning the fictive dream together. Good night.